Hey everyone, how are we doing today? We have a treat for you. So we are the real estate ladies of North Atlanta, Mary Ellen Vanaken and Susan Jennings, but we have a special guest, Heather Rogers from Simply Organized. So we are so excited to have you here today, and we're going to be asking you some great questions. So I'll fire away with the first one.
All right.
What motivated you to start this business, and how has your vision evolved over time? Tell us a little bit about how long you've been in the business and stuff.
I started this business in 2010, so about 14 years ago. And originally, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know what. I didn't know what industry. And so I was in medical sales at the time, and my friend recommended I go to a career counselor. And we played all these games and took all these tests, and all the answers pointed to being a professional organizer. Neither she nor I even knew you could do this for a living. You could make money from it. So my only knowledge of it was that Oprah had a professional organizer at the time. His name was Peter Walsh, and he had this great TV show called Clean Sweep. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Yes,
He's Australian. Do. Yeah, really, really cool. So I deep dived, into research, and I actually contacted Peter Walsh via email to see if I could franchise his method, his business in Atlanta, Georgia. And he recommended that I join NAPO, which is this National Association of Professional and Productivity Organizers. Of course, I'd never heard of it. And so I joined the local chapter, and for 2 years, I kept my full-time job. And then, got a website and the name and some business cards and started assisting other organizers and really learning about this industry and career to make sure it's something I wanted to do. So from that point until now, I would say lots of changes, lots of my initial goal when I quit my full-time job was just please let me make a few dollars this year so that I don't have to stress my husband out. Because when he married me, I was, had a very, very stable income and health insurance and a company car and all that good stuff. Right. So it was a huge risk. Everybody thought I was nuts. Everybody, even my family they're all entrepreneurs. They all said, don't do it. You're crazy. So, it was a huge risk. But that first year I did make some money and gave me the confidence to keep going. And I just loved it. Loved helping people. It was just me. And after about 2 years, I said, I'm getting busier and I need to be in more places at the same time. And so I started hiring other organizers to assist me and help me out. And again, still didn't have big, huge goals. About 7 years ago, I decided, let's blow this up. I want to be able to retire someday, sell this business someday. So I started hiring a team and actually getting real about it. So changed.
How big is your team? How big is your team?
Right now we have 12 organizers. They're all subcontractors, and we're a group of ladies of a certain age, all between like 25 and 65. And we all just love helping people who are going through.
Are you always looking for that great talent? So if there's anyone out there that's interested in organizing, to reach out to you, that maybe they might be a fit for your team.
Yeah, I'm always open to a conversation for sure. Always.
Perfect. So obviously your vision is to grow this so you can sell it eventually and retire, which is a great goal.
Yes, that's the goal.
Okay.
So Heather, along your journey, what's been your biggest challenge?
Oh gosh. I feel
sure there's a lot.
I know there's so many. How to decide? I have a business coach who says if you're not winning, you're learning. And so my biggest joke is that I'm learning all the time. We all survived the global pandemic. And so I think that was probably one of the biggest challenges that I definitely had not put on my radar, right? Of things I might experience as a business owner. That one, nobody could have guessed what that was going to do. During that time in 2020, I actually was in the ICU for several months, and I actually died twice. So that was a big challenge. I came back to life.
Goodness, what happened?
Yeah, so I had pancreatitis from gallstones.
Oh, wow.
And I got my gallbladder out, and a week out of the hospital, my dad died. And so it was just like that.
A lot of challenges.
The pandemic, right? So I was like in the hospital by myself, and it was a rough time. But
yeah, that's a definite challenge that you have just
big challenge. But because I had a team and I had an operations manager, and we had put in all of our processes and systems, my business tripled that year.
Yes.
From a hospital bed. And I was doing nothing. So definitely the biggest challenge. And also now looking back on it, thank God. Thank God that I had people who could help my clients and run my business for me. Because as a solopreneur, again, you never expect that. I was 45. At the time, I was in really good health. So nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, life always throws you those punches, and you just persevered, and really you were able still to have your income coming in, and you're one of your best years, and you're in a hospital bed. So
yeah. I mean, truly, I don't want to gloss over that by any means, because there were probably 2 years where I was saying, why me?
Right.
Why is this happening to me? And I'm a good person and everything else. But now I've got, I don't know, I think they've removed 4 organs now, and I'm still here. So I figure there's got to be a reason.
We love that. You're definitely, anyone can do anything if you just listen to Heather's story. And we're all about stories, because everybody has a story to tell, and we're just here to guide you in the right direction. So
I hope it's motivating and inspiring to other business owners, really. And if you've been putting off putting together an operations manager manual or systems or training, getting all that information out of your head, which I resisted for many years, even though I'm a professional organizer, I had not done that. So I am so grateful that I did that. And so someone could run my business without me.
And we love operation managers. We have an amazing one ourselves.
We could totally geek out on operations.
Yes. No, I know we're geeking out about systems, but honestly, no matter what business you're in, you need those systems, and you need that person to run the systems, because we need to be focusing on our clients and what we do, where our systems they're actually more, they're really great for us. I mean, we need to have them in order to
know your strengths, right? Yes. So your strength, Mariella, might be marketing and sales, but not accounting or insurance or something else, right? And so that's a really good thing for all of us to know about ourselves as well. Like, what are we good at? What's our core of excellence? And then
the next question we kind of have is, how do you stay ahead of the industry trends and adapt to those changes? Is it education, learning? I'd love to hear about that.
Our market's always changing, isn't it, Mary Ellen?
Yes.
Yes. Most of my business is coming from real estate agents and moving companies. So I am kind of in the same boat as y'all when it comes to trying to figure out what's going to happen next. I think the best thing we can do, education is key, but also just being really open to change and being really flexible and working on the stuff we can control.
Correct.
And then just realizing, okay, well, this particular part of the business is not in my control right now, but what can I do? What can I do? I can keep contacting people. I can keep networking. I can keep marketing. I can stay in front of people, and that's always going to help you in the long run. So yeah, we had a lot of changes. I would say the pandemic, again, was a huge change. A lot of professional organizers started doing virtual organizing.
Oh, interesting.
It was really interesting. And then, of course, all of us adjusted to being on camera more and video and Zoom and all those things. I like to make sure that not all of my business is in one place. So half of our business is organizing and the other half is packing and unpacking for moves. And I was very grateful during the pandemic to have those moves because everybody was still moving. So we were packing on a daily basis. We were still packing and unpacking people with masks and gloves and, distancing and all of that. So
little
I would
booties
say
on your feet, little booties on your feet. Remember those?
Oh yeah. And so much hand sanitizer.
Yes.
So much hand sanitizer. But yeah, I think that that's, to me, the key is to make sure that you're not putting all of your eggs in one basket.
I love that. I really do. I really do. And then just the last kind of question, having to kind of get to know you, is what advice would you give to someone looking to start their own business? I know you've touched on a couple of those things. Operation manager is number one, right?
Systems. Two things come to mind right off the bat. Number one is I think it's important for every business owner to understand that when you run your own business, you're probably only going to be doing the thing that you love 50% of the time.
Right.
So a lot of people who love organizing, they don't necessarily love owning their own organizing business. And so they make the best team, the best staff, right? So I think it's important to know that there's a lot more that you're going to be doing, like marketing and sales and accounting and insurance and networking. And, there's a million things that we could list. So that's number one. The second thing is, get help, ask for help. There's so many people. If you can think of a question, there's somebody out there who can answer it. If you can think of a problem, I think being part of our organizing association is just such a phenomenal tool and resource to have all these other people who are in the same boat. Because I don't know everything. I've been doing this a really long time, and every day I learn multiple new things.
We always learn. We're always learning based. I think in any business you have to be learning based.
Yeah. So don't come in with the I know everything, nobody can teach me anything mentality, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to.
Heather, I got a question for Heather. When you're working with your clients, what is the most common mistake that you see somebody make when they're trying to organize their home?
Oh, goodness. The mistake that we all make, no matter what we're doing, is we try to get it all done way too quickly. So way too much and way too quickly. So setting achievable goals. Number one piece of advice I have for anybody who's tackling any project, but especially organizing, because it's overwhelming. Most people are like, oh, I'm going to organize my entire house today.
Oh, no.
That's yourself. You're not going to go run a marathon tomorrow if you've never even run, 100 feet. So give yourself attainable goals, and then also make it as fun and easy as possible. So put on fun music, turn off all the distractions, social media and the computer and the phone or whatever, and just give yourself 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So I think that's number one biggest mistake, and then advice to counteract it.
I love that.
Do you recommend then that clients start in one room, or how do you recommend they prioritize their organizing?
Yeah, one room at a time, one area at a time, one drawer at a time, one box at a time. I think what a lot of us do is we get frustrated, especially with things like paper. Paper's the number one complaint of every client out there, right? Really? So that the home office or paying bills or whatever you don't like about paper, they go to tackle it, and after 10 minutes, they're so frustrated that they just give up, and we wind up with all these piles everywhere, right? You just close the door. So you just ignore the room, right? So I always say, just like set a kitchen timer. This is me setting a kitchen timer.
You can also use your phone. You also can use your
right?
phone.
Yes, or the phone.
Or Google or Alexis, right? Like
20,
so easy now.
Yeah, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Put on some fun music and then just resolve that you're going to at least work on that for that amount of time. And then go reward yourself with whatever your reward is.
Nice.
So, Heather, what's the most common disastrous location in a home? Is it like the drop zone or the entryway? What's the biggest problem most people generally encounter in their home?
Yeah, it definitely tends to be, if there is a home office, even if it's used for lots of different things, that tends to be the dumping ground for the entire family. So it doesn't matter whose home office it is. That's the room that everybody's like, oh, well, we can just put it there because it's not important, right? So if that's the exercise room as well, the guest bedroom as well, maybe it's a crafting room, but it's these multi-purpose areas that become the dumping ground and where people aren't seeing, right? So if somebody's coming over to your house unannounced, it's usually a room that maybe it's in the basement or maybe it's where you can close the door. And again, I think it goes to the problem with paper. Everybody's resistance to the stacks and stacks and stacks of paper. Yeah.
So when you get I'm the type of person, I guess I'm a little different than most people because whatever I get in the mail, it goes in the garbage right away or it goes and it gets taken care of. I don't have stacks of paper. Yep. I know that a lot of people will have their mail unopened and sitting around or whatever. And so I guess it's the type of person you are, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's my number one piece of advice. And there's several blog posts on my blog about vertical filing and ways to tackle this paper problem. And that's the number one piece of advice is don't even let the junk mail come into the house. You just get rid of it immediately. It doesn't even
That's a good tip.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're already doing that. So that's fantastic. I guess if I had to choose a second area, definitely the entrance. Like you said, Sue, the entrance is going to be whether you have a mudroom or a drop zone or not. And again, I have a lot of advice about how to kind of tackle that drop zone area and actually create a functional area for your entrance and exit of the home.
That's good.
So
one of my pet peeves in my home that frustrates me the most is my pantry.
Okay.
So, and organizing the spices.
Yes.
So what
give us some
do you
advice,
have for me to organize a small space like a pantry and all the 100 spices that everybody seems to accumulate?
So nobody wants to hear this advice from me. So I'm just going to give it. Stop buying stuff. That's the number one piece of advice for any area of your home. That is the issue. It's way too easy to get on these automatic shipments. And I'm finding, especially in the pantry, the spice rack, and everybody's closets, we are full of 30 times the amount that we used to have because we're on these auto ships. So the number one rule, don't get on the auto ship. Number two rule, if you're on it, get off it. Cancel the auto ship. Oh my gosh, the supplements. Look, I take a lot of supplements, but I am throwing away hundreds and really thousands of dollars, but hundreds of bottles, cans, whether it's hair, makeup. But yeah, so that's number one. Just stop buying so much stuff. Shop from your own house first before you go to the grocery store.
Oh, good one.
See what you have in your home. You probably don't need a fourth bottle of chili powder seasoning or whatever, right? So shop in your own home first, get rid of all the expired stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Do that. That's a lot of people, especially in that spice cabinet. I mean, you don't have to like throw it away every year.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, it's not going to hurt you to eat it. So, keep it within a regular amount of time, but you don't want, especially baking stuff, it's not going to work as well after a couple of years, right? So throw that away. And then when you get to actually, after you're done purging and you know what you're keeping, then you have to organize it for the space that it's fitting in. And you have to make sure that the stuff you're using every day is in your prime real estate, which is what I call your kitchen cabinets and drawers. You don't want your Thanksgiving platter that you use once a year in your kitchen, right? So the spices you use every day, the salt, the pepper, whatever, need to be on the front row. And then the stuff that you don't use as often can be behind that. And I love those. They're like stair step shelves for spices. You can also get them for your canned goods. And that way you have tiers so you can see what's behind the other thing. And you have to get it like with like. So if you do have multiples, put them all together so that when you empty one, you can see that you've got another one so you don't go buy another one.
Right. That's great advice. That's great advice. How often should you go through your pantry and kitchen cabinets and kind of organize?
So maintenance is the biggest, most often missed part of all of these steps, all of these processes that most people forget about. It's the same with weight loss. Right? Okay, so you lost all the weight. Great. Well, now you got to maintain it, right? So it's the same thing with organizing. I recommend a 5-minute quick clean every day. And then for the pantry, monthly, quarterly, it has to work for you and your schedule. If you're dreading it, if it's something you hate doing, get a family member to help, get a buddy to help, or, call us and we'll help you do it. But yeah, I would say at least 2 to 3 times a year on the pantry and the spices. A really good time to do this is like a month or 2 before the holiday season.
Oh, good idea. That's a good tip.
Because most people, even if you don't cook a lot, most people are going to cook more that time of year. So, backtrack from Halloween, because that's when it starts. Halloween. So go, September's a great time to like do that. Go through the pantry, the spices. Yeah.
Now I know that there's so many organizing, stores and bins and things like that. So when you come in and somebody's like, I need help with my pantry, do you like suggest a certain way to organize it with different kinds of bins or custom closets or what? What are your,
Again, I have a unpopular opinion when it comes to this.
We like to hear.
99.9% of the time, you need nothing. Okay. You need nothing to get organized. Spending money anywhere is not going to get you organized.
That's a great tip, though, because you know what? Everyone thinks the first thing when they think about organizing, they think of going to IKEA, the Container Store, and buying all that plastic stuff, and that's going to organize them.
Nope.
And then they end up having it in their kitchen cabinet drawer that they never touch, and it still has the things on them, the tags.
Yeah. So when you look at the steps that you take to get organized, the first step is to purge.
Okay.
The second step is to get everything like with like.
Okay.
All your pots and pans should be together. All of your spatulas should be together, right? So you can only get organized once you know what you're keeping and in what space. And every space is different. Every client is different. So yes, we have shopped and we have brought in organizing supplies and containers, but only at the last 10% of the organizing project do we do that. I would never shop before because we have absolutely no idea what we're going to need. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Don't go waste a lot of money. And for all of you out there who are like poo-pooing me because you've been watching the home edit on Netflix, I'm sorry. Absolutely go spend $3,000 at the Container Store if that makes you feel better, but it's not going to get you organized.
It's not going to keep you organized either, right?
No.
So like, okay.
No, it's elbow grease and focus time. And none of us want to do that.
Right. Focus is the hardest thing. Like you said, turn all the distractions off, put a timer, put some music if you like music to make you do things, get you motivated.
Wakes up and it's like, I want to organize my pantry today. None of us want to do that. So I always say hiring an organizer is just like hiring a personal trainer. You can exercise all by yourself, but if you hire a trainer, you're 10 times more likely to put it on your calendar, show up, you're going to work out longer, and motivation and accountability is half the battle.
Okay. So I know we touched pantries. Let's go to closets because that's probably the next advice that everybody needs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to hear your tips on closets.
Again, it's about the amount of stuff that we are all, and I'm going to include myself in this, guilty as charged. Especially as Americans, we are shoppers. We are getting a lot of stuff, right? We have so much stuff in our lives that storage units are the number one most profitable business in America.
Wow.
That's how much stuff we have that we would rather pay to store it or not park our cars in the garage because we have so much and we want more, right? So if that doesn't tell you how much stuff we all have, again, I'm preaching the choir, I'm the same. So with closets and clothes, number one, stop shopping. Stop shopping. Stop it. Shop in your own house. You probably have a ton of stuff that you haven't worn. There's still tags on it in your closet. Go shopping in your own closet first. Okay. Second thing I would say, and this is a tip that a lot of my clients like to do, is to see how often you're wearing something. You turn all your hangers one way.
Yes.
January 1st is a good time to do this, but you can really start whenever. You turn them all backwards, and when you wear it and you put it back, you turn it the other way, and that lets you know what you've been wearing. Or you start at the back of the closet and start wearing everything as you come to the front. Get rid of anything that you haven't worn since 8th grade. You're never going to fit in it again. I don't care if it was your first dance, Okay, so it has a memory. It should not be in your closet. That's your primary real estate, right?
Right.
So let's say it's sentimental and you want to keep it. Okay. Fold it up, put it in a plastic bin under the bed, or put it in a memorabilia box. Right? Don't keep it in your closet because we need that space, right? And then I also love to have a black trash bag and a white trash bag. Okay. In the closet or any room you're organizing. And one of them's for trash and one of them's for donate.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then you actually put everything in the bag and put it in your car and take it to donate.
So which one? Black is what? Goodwill?
So this is terrible. I've always, I was raised in the South, so I always say white trash. Easy for me to remember. So I always use white trash. But I would say, whatever the sturdiest bag is for whatever the heaviest stuff is.
Well, most of the stuff, you're right. So most of the stuff is going to be heavy, right?
Yeah.
So I agree because that's what I do is I bring one of the heavy duties from my husband's, from the garage. You can get those heavy duties for the lawn and that kind of stuff that he used for the outdoors. And I use that to put stuff for Goodwill. And then I have a regular kitchen bag that I have a white one, and I bring that up and I do that. So that's,
and if you need to, then come up with a third thing that's a box, a cardboard box, right? Yes. If it's got wire coat hangers that are going to poke through a trash bag or something, that's fine. We can have recycling. That's absolutely fine. But whatever system you are going to use.
Yes. Just do it, right?
Just
It's just like
do
anything
it.
else. Like
Just
whether
do
you
it.
use a
Stop putting it
contact system,
off. Yeah.
Just do it. Okay. All right. We lost you for a minute. So what are some of the affordable storage solutions that you suggest homeowners do on a budget?
As far as storing what?
Yeah, so like so some people like I think you touched this a lot about don't buy anything that's don't buy anything because you can spend a lot of money on all that storage stuff.
Yeah.
So like give us like a storage hack. Someone would go and
the organizing supplies that are really beneficial.
Yes.
Got it. Sorry, I got lost in the word storage.
No, I know. Storage. Oh, we don't like that word.
I know. I always think of storing off-site in a dark warehouse.
Dark room
So I love I don't like to call it a junk drawer. I like to call it a miscellaneous, very important stuff drawer. Because we all have it. We all need it. So I love drawer dividers.
Yes.
For those drawers. Because that way, even though everything in there is different shapes and sizes and stuff, you can find it. And my definition of being organized is you can find what you need when you need it. That's it. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to be on the cover of a magazine to be organized. So I love drawer dividers, and you can get them anywhere. I like to order a lot of stuff on Amazon for my clients because I can get it in bulk and, I know exactly what I need. I like clear, but if it's going to be in a kitchen drawer or something and you prefer bamboo or metal or whatever, that's fine. If you want it to look pretty, there's nothing wrong with that either. But I think it's really helpful to have that. I also think it is helpful to contain some things in bins. In my home office, which is where I'm, talking to y'all from now, I have several clear plastic bins and they all have an individual purpose. I have supplies in one, I have manuals in one, I have, notepads and pens and all sorts of things. So I think you need to be able to find what you need when you need it. And if by containing those items and having like with like in one place, if that's helpful to you, no matter what room you're in, closet, to hold jewelry, in your bathroom. I also love an over-the-door shoe holder. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Doesn't have to be for shoes. You can use this in a pantry, spices, canned goods. What you're doing with anything over the door is you're using the vertical space of the back of a door that otherwise isn't probably being used. So this is great in a bathroom for, let's say you've got, little kids and they, the bath toys or the hair items or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's a good
it can take socks and underwear and everything else. And I'm recently, my nephew's going to college, and that was, one of my number one recommendations for him is get one of those over the door shoe holders to get extra space in that room. And also command hooks, right? To create his own drop zone for keys and phone and chargers and all that.
And that's a whole nother ball game. These kids going to college and organizing them.
Oh, I know. We had
small spaces, right?
We had such a fun, for me, it was so fun. I did like this going to college class for him. Yeah, It was really neat. We talked about time management, routine, and scheduling and all that stuff, but also space. Because it's making the most of a small amount of space that you have. So back to the things that I do recommend. So anything that's going to get you bigger, better use of space.
Yeah.
Right.
So Heather, if I'm a new client, for instance, can you walk me through the process of, our first meeting and what we might talk about and, what your procedure is as far as, our existence together to make this successful?
Yes. So I always do a consultation, whether it's on a video call or in person, depending on the client's schedule. And we start with goals. What are your goals? What's your timeline? How do you envision this space? What do you want to get out of our work together? And then from there, I send them a deposit invoice and a contract to sign. And after that's done, then we book their sessions, whether it's with me or a member of my team. And I give an estimate of how long I think it's going to take, how many people I think it's going to take, what supplies we may or may not need, and the cost associated with that. And then we come up with a good schedule. We have a minimum of 3 hours per session, just so that we can really show them a sense of accomplishment.
Right.
We find that you can't do that in an hour. So we always want to at least do 3 hours. And also just trying to get anywhere in Atlanta traffic is so tough. So we want to give it at least 3 hours, but we can be there all the way up to 8 hours. If it's a packing or an unpacking job, that looks a little different. That's usually more organizers that show up, and we usually come a day or two before the movers to get everything packed. And then we come a day or two after the movers to get everything unpacked and put away, which is so much fun. We love that.
Oh, I was going to say that's fun. So I do like, so tell a little bit more about the process if you're moving. So we were just,
so I think most people don't even know that this service exists. Our entire lives, me included, I've always just packed myself. It's something that most people dread. I think it's a miscommunication or misunderstanding that most people think that all organizers do is work with hoarders. It couldn't be further from the truth. Our clients are busy working families who are going through a major life change. And the number 2 most stressful major life change is moving.
Yes.
Moving, which I can't believe it has surpassed divorce. I feel like divorce is still, but a lot of times a divorce comes with a move, right?
Correct.
So we're not only, there because we're not there because they're messy or they can't do it themselves. There's so much shame with hiring an organizer. And I just want to wipe that clean from everybody's brain. Like, you should never feel ashamed to ask for help. You know, you've lost a loved one, you're getting married, you're getting divorced, you're having babies, you're moving. You need an extra set of hands. That is all. And we're just there to help. That's it. That's our number 1 goal, is to help people. And we do it every day. So it's so much easier for us. We're not going to go down the, look through the photo albums and get off track. We're very efficient. We're very highly trained experts in how to do this. So it's easier for us. It's quicker for us. And so, we're going to come in. We're going to bring all the supplies you need. You don't have to worry about a thing. We actually help a lot of people who aren't even there.
I was going to say that. I was going to say, isn't it just better? Here, I'm moving. I'm leaving the house with the kids.
Yeah, it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And I understand it is a luxury. Not everybody can afford this, but we have helped people who were on vacation and they did not deal with any of it. So we helped them hire the movers. We were there on moving day. We packed them. We're there with the movers. We unpacked them and they came home to a completely unpacked, organized house. Didn't even have to smell cardboard.
Oh my goodness. That's
we'll get
amazing.
The trash removal companies, we'll get the charities to come pick up, donate, or we'll put it in our car and give them the receipt for their taxes. So we really want to help as much or as little as our clients want us to help.
Right.
Yeah.
And that all goes back to consulting with them, what they want, what are their needs, what are their goals. So you can do a small job or a complete big job if you don't want to move.
Absolutely. Our minimum is 1 organizer, 3 hours.
Right.
And Heather, can you give us an idea of what 1 organizer for 3 hours might cost somebody? Just as a starter?
Yeah, it's around $300 to get
Okay.
an organizer for 3 hours. Again, I'm going to do a consultation first, so I'll give you a good idea of actual real cost that might be involved in that. But that's our minimum, basically, is where we start.
Which is great. I mean, you go in there, you have a consultation, you have your goals, and then you come out with a plan. You have a written plan. Here we go.
Yes.
This is what we're going to do. So say if I, hired you for 3 hours, what is the normal that you usually do for 3 hours? What do you accomplish in 3 hours? Is it a kitchen? I mean, what's your favorite?
So it really, I hate saying this, but it totally depends on the client.
Yes, of course.
There's very few projects that we would be able to complete in 3 hours.
Correct.
I'm not going to lie. I don't want to overpromise.
No, and I think this is important to tell people.
I think most kitchens take a good 5 to 7 hours to get organized. To pack a kitchen, that would take 2 organizers 5 to 7 hours to pack, because most things in the kitchen are very fragile. And then again, it all depends on how much stuff is in the space. So we've worked with clients who have a 1-bedroom apartment that we thought, it'll just take us a few hours, and it took days. And the opposite is true. We've helped 8,000 square foot houses that we thought would take days and only took hours. So it really depends on the amount of stuff and not the amount of square footage.
Right.
Got it. Yeah.
And a lot depends on our clients and how motivated they are and how focused they are if they want to work side by side with us.
And
so I always
would say also,
warn them. Yeah, I warn them that, some days are better than others, right? I mean, we all wake up and are like, ooh, I have a migraine today or whatever, right? Like, I don't feel like working on this today. And I completely understand that. But yeah, a lot depends on our clients. But we can typically, I've gotten pretty good at estimating after, I think we've helped over 4,000 clients now. So I can really come in and see it. And I have no training in psychology or psychiatry or counseling at all, but a lot of this comes with emotional stuff too. So it's very common for our clients to be crying.
Yes.
While we're there.
Well, we deal with a lot of emotions too. I mean, we deal with all the emotions too. We've had all the emotions, but and
you just pray that it's nothing you've done that's causing the crying. But again, that's something that I think clients need to be aware of. Like, well, we could come in here without you and get this done real quick, but we want you obviously to make decisions and help you through the journey. So it depends on their emotional and physical state as well.
Right. One of the things that I, tell a lot of our clients is we do this a couple times a month. You do this maybe 2 or 3 times in a lifetime. Right. So, they need to, trust the professionals and not think that they can just, I can sell my house myself. Well, it's a lot more complicated in this world than just sticking a sign in the yard. There's so many legal implications anymore, and you never know, in our business anyway, who we're going to be dealing with on the other side of the table. We don't know the personalities of the other real estate agent or the buyers and whether, we often have closings where we have to put the sellers in one room and the buyers in another room because people aren't getting along. So, I think the thing to remember is that, like with Heather's business, our business, we do this a couple times a month, where you do it maybe a couple times in a lifetime.
Yeah. I love that. I'm glad you said that, Sue. Yeah, we do this every day. We do our job every day with different clients.
Always, every day, no matter what.
Right.
We see over the years the different struggles and the roadblocks and everything. So we usually have a better idea of how to handle. Yeah, you're right.
And that comes to my next question on can you share kind of your process for helping clients declutter when they're struggling with getting rid of items? Like, what do you do? Like,
so
I'm sure we encounter that a lot.
We encounter it a lot. And it's really interesting because a lot of times we're being hired by one family member, and they're often telling us that it's the other family member that's the problem. And then we get there and find out, oh no, you're the one. So I think a lot of people don't think they're going to have a struggle with decluttering. And then they start doing it and they go, oh, no, I'm not getting rid of that. That's my grandfather's such and such or whatever. Right. So we come across everything from gift guilt to, walking down memory lane, right? So I think the number one best thing we can do to help people is keep reminding them of their goal. That initial goal. Why did you hire us? You wanted this space to look like this. So we just gently remind them every time they have resistance. I completely understand. We can put that in the maybe section for now, but we're not going to be able to get you to your goal if we're keeping everything.
Yes, I totally love that.
We run into the same problem, Heather, with our buyers very often. And we do a buyer consultation before we ever, start to work with a buyer. And we ask them, of course, what their, top 5 or top 10 must-haves are in a particular home. And so we will only send them homes to look at online that meet that criteria. But it never fails. We have somebody who thinks they've just got to go out on Zillow and find the one house that we've missed of their criteria and send that to us. And very often we'll look at that house and it will have certain aspects to it that don't meet their criteria at all or are a total miss, such as I must have master on the main, and yet that house has a master on the second floor. Very basic things like that. And we constantly have to remind our clients, here are your goals. Here are your must-haves. These, are the things that, we're going to work toward to get you the best home we possibly can find, because no house is perfect, as you know, I'm sure. And, everybody's needs are different, as you know. But it's very interesting how, your experiences and our experiences really do overlap a lot.
Well, we're both working with the same clients. We're working with people in their homes. There's nothing more personal than that.
Right.
Anytime somebody starts new on my team, I have them come observe for a day before I even send them a form to fill out. And I say, this is a weird job. We go from being total strangers to being in somebody's underwear drawer in 5 minutes. That's a weird job. We see everything.
Right.
So it's very personal. And when people say it's just business, well, okay, but our businesses, all three of us, it's a very personal business.
Yes.
We are dealing with the human psyche, the emotions, the decision making, and then a lot of times we never know what happened that day.
Right.
Even after doing this for so long, I'm still stunned sometimes by a client who's like, oh, I just feel so rushed. But you're the one who set the timeline, right? I think and again, like you said, most people shouldn't be moving that many times in their life, right? So maybe they moved 10 years ago or 20 years ago, but a lot has changed.
Right.
And in 5 years, a lot has changed. And so, I think it takes a special kind of person like us, an expert and resource, to be able to work with all of these very human, personal emotions and changing their minds, right? Which
yes. I mean, you're gonna have to use a magic wand sometimes and change their mind, right?
I know. we've been described as magicians and angels and things in the past. And I always say, I wish we had a magic wand. I really do. I wish I could make it so easy for you.
Yeah, I think a lot of people need to learn to trust the professionals and trust the process.
Yeah.
And one thing I've always reminded some of my clients that are a little nervous about the transition from one, selling their house, finding the right house, moving and so forth is, Mary Ellen and I have done this a long time and we haven't left anybody homeless yet.
I love that. I love that. That's so great. Well, yes, it's what's that saying? You can get it cheap or you can get it fast or you can get it done right. I'm very often reminding my clients that, you can't get all three, right? So you need to trust the process. And also something you said earlier, Mary Ellen, made me think about expectations.
Yes.
I think it's really important in our lives to set reasonable expectations with our clients because it's not going to happen like it does on TV. I'm sure you get all the time, well, but so-and-so said that they could sell my house or just give me the money and they don't even have to show it. I don't even have to stage it, right? So all these things that are promised to all of our clients, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Yeah. It is. It's not an HGTV show. I've worked on those shows. It's smoke and mirrors. They find 3 houses. Choose from one of these 3. They're all perfect. Yeah, no, we know the reality.
The reality.
It's not going to be a 30-minute fix.
I have this one more area that a lot of people struggle with, and I know it's probably really hard to do, is garages. Yeah. So any advice for garage? And, having so many kids sports stuff and toys and lawn stuff and all kinds of things in a garage, just some advice maybe about a garage or a hack or a tip.
So garages are very important because it's usually the first thing we see when we come home. And I've had clients tell me they hesitate to even hit that garage door button because it starts causing them the
anxiety.
You can call it anxiety, you can call it whatever you want, but mental clutter, physical clutter leads to mental and emotional clutter, however you want to describe that feeling, right? So I would say use shelves in the garage. So again, vertical storage is key, especially in the garage. Use the sides where you can still get in and out if you're parking a car in the garage. Use the back or the front. And then be real diligent with what you're keeping in there. You really don't want to store photos, paint, clothes, anything in a hot or cold garage. And most garages are not climate controlled. No. So be really diligent with what you're storing. The kids' sporting equipment, usually it involves long bats or sticks or, balls, other things like that. So even getting a tall, whether it's a wrapping paper holder or a garbage can that you would use to put all that stuff in so it's not falling all over the floor.
That's
the most important thing you want to do is get it all as much off the floor as possible so that it's not a trip hazard. It doesn't get broken, it doesn't get run over, etc. But I love shelves in a garage. I love clear plastic storage bins in a garage. And again, just keep one type of item per bin so you can find it when you need it.
Yeah, no, that's a great advice. And I know Sue and I can talk to you all day long. We love organizing and we love to talk about it because it's so important in both of our businesses. So I think it's probably time to, is there anything that you'd love to add to what we're talking about? And how do people contact you? And, we want to know all that great information.
Yes. So there are tons of free tips and tools on my social media and my website. It's simplyorganizedyou.com. Lots of blog posts and just fantastic information. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, also under Simply Organized You, YOU. And you can also call me or email me. So my number is 404-825-2105. And email is heather@simplyorganizedyou.com. About 7 or 8 years ago, I wrote a book. So if you want to go on Amazon and get a copy, I've got a simplified life. There are real life examples of clients that we've helped, every type of situation. I kept it anonymous, didn't throw anybody under the bus, but it's a good, if you do want to DIY, if you want to try to tackle it yourself, then there's some great tips and tools in there too.
Yes. Well, we're just so thankful that you had the time today to speak with us. And honestly, I've learned a lot of stuff too, and some hacks, and I hope that you've learned some great information. And Sue, anything to add?
No, I just think that this has been a really fun podcast. We really enjoy, working with you, getting to know you, and we really appreciate your time today and joining us on this podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. And you guys all have a good day. Real Estate Ladies of North Atlanta. Have a good day. And thank you, Heather Rogers. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.